Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. And it's Tuesday. I'm supposed to be here on Wednesday, but I'm here on Tuesday. I'm here to tell you why. Yeah, I'm back in hospital on Wednesday through to Friday, so this will be my last video until Monday. And there is so much prep and medication and God knows what else that I've got to do between now and then, that, you know, I just couldn't possibly squeeze one in before going in on Wednesday, so I'm doing it now. And also it's it's 11/11 today, so it's the AliExpress big sale, and I will put links below. Now, I was supposed to do my embossing folders. Those are going to have to wait now until Monday, but I have got a small haul to share with you, which means it's not taking up any energy on my part. And I did cut and make a couple of them, so I'm going to share that. Yes, I am. And of course, you know where I'm going today. I'm going into Piggy's store again. So if you're looking to save a lot of money, I always recommend Piggy. Great shipping and great products. And I don't think I've ever had a die that failed me. And of course, KS Craft, KLJ, UYP, those stores will be linked below, because always good quality and always good service. Right, so first up, and I got myself this gorgeous big star. I'm sure you could put the star on its side like that, or you could have it going that way. It's entirely up to you. It's a beautiful size. Personally, I got this because I figured I'd do my card base, put this on, cut it through at the same time as my card base. Of course, it's got to be a frame die to do that. And then what you'd be left with is a star-shaped aperture. Then you can just pull this out and pop it into the aperture, put acetate underneath, and make yourself a really pretty and simple shaker. I will be up next week to share these. Right, that is 4 inches. I haven't got a clue what it is that way, so let's have a look. By 4.5, so that's 4 by 4.5 inches. So it is a full card size, which is great. Please excuse my throat. And then I got myself a little set of bows. These are in the Christmas set from Piggy, but of course you can use bows all year round. And they've got those little holes in there, so you can attach them to tags. But the biggest one is 1 inch by 3/4 of an inch. And then the next one, because it's Christmas, I've got a big jingly bow with a nice big bow. So, you know, things that can be used on their own again, especially the bow, any time of the year. So the jingly bow is 1 7/8 of an inch. And then on the width of that, I'm going to say just a fraction over 1 3/4. The bow is 2 1/4, and then the length of the bow is just under 3 inches. So a beautiful size. I mean, even if you only wanted to cut 2 strips of paper, you know, you could put those on your card and then put a bow on it, so that your card looks like a nice present. And then next up, I just adore these. A set of 3 snowmen, and they've got all different hats. I think that's called is it a stovepipe hat? You know, it kind of reminds me of Dr. Seuss, you know, the hat in the cat in the hat. No, not the hat in the cat in the hat, yeah. So that kind of reminds me of that one. But then you've got all different bows and scarves that can go around their necks. So that one's holding a cane. Really lovely and simple, just cut in white cardstock, a little bit of grey marker, a little bit of shadow in there. And if you look at that one, it's got little heart-shaped buttons, and the other ones are dotty. But I'll measure the biggest one, and that is 2 3/8 of an inch. And then I think, yeah, it's probably as wide as that one, so I'll do the width of it, and that is 1 3. What was that? 1 3/8 of an inch. So they're just a lovely size. A really great fun trio. Absolutely gorgeous. And then I had to get myself an angel, because once again you can do the same thing as the star, and you'd end up with the shaker area being the face. Obviously you could pop the face back in, but you'd end up with the shaker area as the angel's dress, and that would look really pretty with some crystally sparkles and stuff. Really looking forward to using them. And then we're at 2.5 inches, and then the height of that is a fraction over 4 inches. But isn't she pretty? But you could do her in different, you know, sorts of plaids and things like that, because she is quite prim looking. Be entirely up to you how you decided. And then I got myself another Christmas toboggan or sleigh, whatever it is they're called. I think that one's a toboggan, and this one comes with a bow as well. So you've got a little swirly twirly bow to attach to that. And the snowmen, you could actually sit a snowman on top of there, and that would look really cute. That would absolutely fill a card. Or you could put your jingly bell sitting on top. But the length of that one is, let's have a look. Oh, the longest bit's up there. We're just over 3.5 inches. And then the height of that is, I'm going to say 1 3/4. And then of course a little bow that can be used all year round. And then next up is my Christmas. Now when I saw this I thought I've got to have that because I want to know if it cuts. Look at how delicate that is, and look at the size of it. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's glorious. And I will tell you, I just went through on one pass and it cut out. What more can you ask for? Because the last thing you want to do with something like this is roll forward and back, because if it skips slightly you end up with like a really thin piece of cardstock that cuts out around the edges. Do you know what I mean? That is 5 3/4 inches. It is glorious. And then the height obviously is going to be the C, and that is 2 5/8. So here it is cut out. I've just got to move another one out of the way. Look at that. That is just so pretty. That is a whole card right there. Maybe a couple of those little bows on it. But I just think it's lovely. Let's get a close-up. So I got that. And then next up I got this little set because I thought it was so cute. And it's a little Christmas elf who's got a hat. And he's got his own little jumper. There's a pair of scissors and there's 2 ribbons. Now you can arrange this in whichever way you want. Like the ribbons can stack up on top of each other and your little elf on the top with his scissors. But I put mine down at the bottom because I wanted him to look like he'd fallen asleep. He'd done too much wrapping of the presents, bless him. And that is 3 inches wide on the largest one. And I think they're both similar height, so that is 1 1/4 inches. So my last one, and I've already turned it into an embellishment to go onto a card. And all I did was use some marker to colour in his little trousers. I can see in close up I missed a little bit of his foot. Can you see that? Things like that annoy me. But I'll touch it up in a bit. And then I used a little bit of pattern paper to make his little jumper with a little Christmas gift on it. But he's fast asleep, bless him, with his little rosy cheeks. And there's his scissors. And then I just did marker on white cardstock to colour those bits in for the, what's it called? The bobbin. Yeah, the bobbin that holds the ribbon. But I just think that's great fun. It's just so cute. But that will go onto a card. But as I said, I did cut out the Christmas and I've got him. Right, that is what I have for you today. I do hope you enjoy the AliExpress sale. Whatever you do, try to find the stores that do all the free shipping, but I will try and link those below. And I will see you on Monday. But I thank you so much for joining me, and I thank you for your patience. Have a wonderful day. Bye.